So he's taking all that bravado that we got when we had Conor's rise, right? The shit talk, the predictions, all that. But then he does it just even cleaner and quicker than, now granted, when Conor knocked out, like we talked about Aldo, that was, I mean, one of the fastest KOs ever. But Tapuria is, in my opinion, doing it against better competition and also selling it like crazy and backing it up, celebrating his victory with his team and his family, and cheersing and standing on the freaking restaurant couch thing and then
around,
just like, what? It's like always arrogant. It's like he just knows that he's better than these guys right now, and he's proving that he is.
You know, Ilia is doing exactly what Conor did, but more.
But
he doesn't say it with the same flamboyance. He's much more blunt about, hey, look, I'm going to knock him out. And he doesn't, you know, he doesn't sit there and, you know, get into the whole thing with the brogue and everything, but he's calling how he's going to do it. He's saying when he's going to do it. And he's actually going and defending those titles. At least he defended the featherweight title once, and now he's going to defend the lightweight title. So you got to say, you're looking at it, man, he's doing it a little bit better than Conor did it.
Like, you look at Conor, and this is no shade towards Conor, but I would say his best run in terms of like the name value was Chad Mendes, but it was short notice. We got to be honest about that. Then he fought Jose Aldo, right? I think it was right after. And then he fought Eddie Alvarez. A beautiful 14-second knockout, which set the world on fire. So that's huge. And then he does that to Eddie Alvarez, which I thought was a tailor-made matchup stylistically for him. But still, he was a champ at the time. And then he did him the way that he did him. But then you have Ilia, who's doing that. His last three people have been some of the greatest combat athletes. Some of the greatest combat athletes of all time.
You just nailed what's the difference. It's the level of competition that he fought on the way up to the same records as Conor McGregor. If you look at who they fought, you can't probably really compare the levels. And that's what I hear you saying, and I would agree 100% with you on that.
He's not Conor. It's very easy to make that comparison, but I don't think he's anything like him in terms of like his demeanor, his behavior, the trash talk. He's not a big trash talker. And so what I like about it is it just feels like the second coming, the first time since that we have a character somewhat like him, but he's backing it all up. He's delivering. And man, I honestly, I feel like I'm just sort of rambling because I am in so much awe of this guy because of how he acts and then how he performs.
Dude, by the time Conor was even fighting Poirier or Chad Mendes, those fights were bigger than any of Tapuria's fights, just in terms of size and audience. It just was. But in terms of skill, Tapuria's significantly better than him.
Conor came into the UFC, he had losses. Okay, people had seen ways to beat him, you know, and with Tapuria, no one's figured out that puzzle yet, and that is a huge difference. That is a standard to have, that undefeated record when you're fighting the very best people out there. Josh, that is not an easy task to keep that O in place, and he's done it for 17 fights.
I'm telling you right now, beating the pound for pound number one in Alexander Volkanovski. Well, the pound for pound at the time, former pound for pound Alexander Volkanovski, then arguably the pound for pound before, you know, in that featherweight division, arguably the greatest featherweight that we've seen before Volkanovski, stopped Max Holloway as well, and then went out there. Not only is he stopping them, Henry, let's not forget here, do we remember what made Conor a superstar, besides the fact that obviously Conor was a superstar in everything that he did? But one of the biggest things that people loved, that was crazy, is Conor would tell you, he would tell you what I'm gonna get. I'll get him out of there in two. You know, he would tell you what round he's gonna get you out of there. Ilia Topuria said, I'm going to knock him out in the first round. I'm going to knock him out in the first round. And he went out there and, jeez, was that scary.
And now, the last time we seen anything like this was Conor McGregor, I would say. Yeah. With what he did with at Madison Square Garden that night with Eddie Alvarez, becoming the double champ, and the performances he did with Aldo. I mean, it was that we haven't seen a combination of that confidence and swag and talking and backing it up the way somebody does, the way Ilia does. The people got that it factor, and he's got that.
It is nuts. It's like nothing I've seen before. And I know sometimes I'm criticized for sounding extra hyperbolic, right? But calm, cool, collected doesn't even begin to describe it. You set it up well. He is so matter of fact, as if the outcome is an eventuality against Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, and now after third Hall of Famer, that I don't really know that there's a comp. I mean, yes, there's a lot of Conor McGregor parallels to be drawn.
Has there ever been a rise better than that? Conor McGregor was great, and he beat Aldo in 12 seconds, then Eddie Alvarez, but then he lost to Khabib.
Yeah.
I think what he has done is better than anyone. Better than what John Jones did. Yeah, John Jones came in the sport, youngest champion. But Tapuria, holy effing shit, man.
So our minds will always tell us every single time. We're always we're just inclined to say that the previous generation was better. The reality is it's never true, and you're really not complimenting a previous generation. You're insulting an entire sport. You're saying the sport has not grown in the last 10 years if you go with the guy from yesterday. Guys do this with Wilt Chamberlain, but they're insulting all of basketball by saying the league has not grown in 40 years. I only share that with you because the answer is Ilia, and somebody that got real close to saying that in his own way was Conor. Conor went on social media and he alluded that he'd like to come back and fight him, but he called it that would be a good knock. And that's not how Conor talks. Conor talks, man, I'll come in and trash this guy. This guy's nothing. He's only here because I'm not. Like, Conor saying it would be a good fight is the nicest Conor's ever been in the middle of like trying to get attention on social media.
This is the new #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in my opinion, and Uncrowned has backed it up. Uncrowned.com just put out those. There is no denying he is the biggest superstar in the UFC. There's no denying that he is only going to get bigger. And lastly, I'll just say what's so refreshing about this, very quickly in the Conor run, it was, and I don't blame him for it, but it was just a big part of the narrative. I want this, I want equity, he doesn't do any of that. He's just like, I'm here, this is beautiful, I won the belt in the training, I collected in the fight. Like, wow. He continues to nail it every time. And even this morning, he puts out that he's having a reality show on HBO Max, I believe in Spain, because it's in Spanish. It is mesmerizing to watch him compete. I'm in awe of this guy.
People fell in love with this idea of Mystic Mac, that Conor McGregor could somehow magically predict the future, that he could speak into existence these things and they would happen. And there was something incredibly otherworldly about that. And with Ilia, it feels a little bit more cerebral. Like, he's doing the same things. He's calling the same shots with specificity, by the way. And when he does it, you get the sense that he has, it's more tactical.
Not for nothing. He didn't beat the guy. The guy is ranked #1, and his name is Arman Sarukian. He didn't beat the champ. The champ is pound for pound #1, and his name is Islam Makhachev. He beat another guy who's really, really good and really, really popular, and he beat him in a way that nobody else could. But keep your impressed and keep your comparisons to Conor. Conor goes out to Madison Square Garden. He takes on Eddie freaking Alvarez, the reigning champion at a weight class Conor had never been at. That's a big deal. And that's close to what we just saw. And Ilia didn't beat the sitting champion. And he didn't knock out the reigning champion. To just match what Conor did, Ilia would have had to not have that paperwork issue, still have the belt, and have knocked out, in this case, Islam Makhachev. And I'm just to remind you, that's not what happened.